feedback, uh, or whoever's watching the stream. This is an embarrassing resume of the podcast, but it should be okay. At least OBS tells me that things are fine now. Let's see. Let's see.
All right. Yes, I can hear you now.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, time to do another introduction that I will just totally cut out for our iTunes subscribers. So welcome back, guys, to the Innervated episode 14. It is again Monday. What date it is? It's August 10th, and I'm your host, now audible, apparently, Radoslav Nitrokolev. And as I said in the first introduction that nobody really heard except my co-host here on Skype, is that I'm so glad to be back. Um,
Yeah, kick your level up a
on my
little.
own PC, just having a good time, having a proper setup, a, not really a proper setup apparently, because well, it could have been better. Let's see if I can boost my microphone a bit.
Yep.
Uh, mm,
I mean, I'm
okay,
loud as fuck constantly, so it doesn't really matter what I set mine at.
okay. Well, I love how you leave things in one way, then you return back, do absolutely nothing, and then things are screwed up.
Yeah, welcome
This
to
is
updates.
no, I haven't really updated anything besides installing Windows 10. So I don't like
Uh,
if this fucked up
That's an
everything.
update.
that's an update, sir.
I mean, I think it's more like OBS's fault, if anything, because
Oh,
it's true.
I'm not gonna argue with that one because OBS has been wonky as fuck both pre-Win 10 and post-Win 10. My God, like everything adding to it should be the same sizing. Nope.
Anyway, so today we have a great show for you guys. But to assist me with it, we have the Chiv here as usual. How are you been doing, mate? What have you been doing these past 2 weeks, where we had no show? Probably, getting some fun time off stream, on
Uh,
stream.
I, I, I wish I could say I've been having a whole lot of fun. Actually, I have been having fun. I can't really say it, but I've been working. I've been working as the manager for Luminosity Gaming, keeping those guys on track, making sure they're getting to their matches and all that other fun stuff. And it was really nice to see some of them do really good here recently. So, yeah.
How is this job going for you? Like, what do you do? Because I speak to a lot of managers and they tell me, well, yeah, I just have to organize like flights and tickets and whatever, or
It,
just
it's a
practice
it,
schedule. Like,
it's that there's a lot of scheduling. It's organizing, analytical stuff, practices, any kind of like league type stuff. Boom, got to make sure your guys are showing up there, make sure they're prepared for it. Then also, bigger teams have stream contracts where they have to stream a certain amount of times. You got to make sure everything is within that right um, following of the contract to make sure they're getting that viewership, they're getting this, and also promoting whenever one of your players is at like big events like say Gamescom or Assembly, things of that nature. It's a full-time job. I'm not even gonna lie,
no,
because when your team is split between multiple regions, you get no sleep.
it must be hard because most of the Hearthstone scene is EU time zones, I guess. I mean, there's quite a few tournaments in the NA time zone, but at least the big ones, the big ones, are
More
all EU
coming
time
next
zone.
year.
And
More coming next year
you mean more in NA or even more in Europe?
in NA.
Ah, I mean, it's about time. It's about time.
I mean, we got DreamHack coming to Austin,
Yeah,
so
that's
that's
for sure.
good.
Anyways, and we also have Suman in here, who's also returning from our previous episode. What have you been doing while I was awake and having my own holiday?
I was having my own holiday. I mean, I was actually completely unavailable during the days of
Am I the only one who
Gamescom. So,
Shut up.
I even missed the WoW announcement. I had to watch the VODs of that. So,
Oh god, I haven't watched it yet. I mean,
What?
yeah, I haven't watched the Legion, and I mean, I know what was announced, and I know what they will have, but I still haven't got to watch the VODs, and I'm semi excited because I mean, I no longer play WoW constantly as I used to do like 8 years ago, but I'm still curious. Like, I installed and paid for 1 month and play Warlords of Draenor until my love for the MMO just evaporated.
Yeah, Warlords of Draenor was about. Oh, it looked really cool when they showed us all those scenes, and there's like, oh, and you'll be able to do this, and we got the suppression. And then as you get in there and play, it's like, I'm playing fucking Farmville with an MMO. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is WoW have become so much more story focused, and the problem with MMOs is story sucks. Okay, like they have the worst pacing, like, and they don't have any. Every storyline has to end with a big climactic showdown at a very linear dungeon-style event. Like there's no room to expand the story with diplomacy or anything. Like it's very much, that's why it's kind of, like in Burning Crusade it was just about the gear, grind, gear.
Oh, and Illidan was there just because, screw it, there's gear.
Yeah, here's some gear, and now he's here for story.
Yeah.
Well,
but I have to agree with you. Yeah, you look at like Mists of Pandaria, same thing. Cataclysm, same thing. And even Warlords of Draenor, same thing. It was like, oh wow, great. And the gear was just there to kind of like make it easier to complete, to get further on to the rest of the story, and it was okay. I wasn't overly thrilled with it.
I just want Warcraft 4. Like, I feel like at this point they're just burning up.
You and so many other people.
I know, it's on the level of Half-Life 3. Like, I mean,
I was about to say you're right in there with the same Half-Life 3 camp.
Yeah,
even I'm waiting for Half-Life 3, and I hate shooters. Like I can't play them to save my life. But Warcraft 4, I was never good at the game. I never played it, but I watched the hell out of it. I still believe Warcraft 3 had the best esports scene even to this day. I'm sorry to say to all the Dota and League of Legends fans, but yeah, come on, Warcraft 3 was pretty amazing.
I think Warcraft 4 could beat all of those games as well. Like, I'm sorry to say it, like it's one of those games that would have enough hype behind it that I think it could beat it. But there's not this side of 3 million subscribers.
Yeah. We'll see. Lots of great stuff coming from Blizzard. I mean, Overwatch is coming this fall. I mean, at least in beta. And they showed it was playable at Gamescom. Actually, if you were one of the chosen ones. I still like we had an on-site reporter, Tom from our crew at Gamescom, but I still haven't found out if he was able to play Overwatch. Probably he hasn't, because he was going to be in our face like, yeah, you pieces of plebs, I got to play Overwatch, and you stayed in your own homes
casuals
and masturbated probably all day. So my guess is he didn't play Overwatch. But
no.
People.
I got to talk to some people who did get to play it. They were like, "Oh, this is gonna be so good." They loved it.
I mean,
they love the diversity of the play in it.
If we look at what Blizzard have been releasing, they have all been great games. Honestly, like I myself lost faith in Blizzard around Diablo 3, and I mean the vanilla one.
I mean that's the thing, really. Like, I mean that's how really, like, people kind of forgot. Blizzard doesn't release well. Blizzard expands well.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Diablo 2, trash. Lord of Destruction, awesome.
Yep.
StarCraft 2, nobody remembers. Brood War, everything.
Everybody remembers.
You know, like that's how it's always been. And
the only exception is StarCraft 2, and Wings of Liberty was great, and then Heart of the Swarm killed the game. So
well, that
reversal.
Well, that had been half a decade old at this point. Like, what the heck is going on with Legacy of the Void?
Yeah. Oh god. I think like, well, it's still in beta, and people, think it's gonna come out this year, but I mean, it has to come out this year, right?
They have promised that it's coming out this year, but I'm like, it's half a decade old. Better games have ended their support at that age. Like,
it's 6 years old now.
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, Blizzard takes all their IPs like really seriously. It's part of they're like their children. All right, so they're going to support it as much as they can.
But Sena people would just have come out with a direct sequel at this point. Like, I mean, it's 5 years. It's not like you're going for the annual model at this point. Like, you could get away with that schedule.
Right, you're talking about the same people who keep telling us they can't add more deck slots.
This is such a nice segue into actual Hearthstone, which is what this podcast is supposed to be about in the end.
Hey, look, drunken, I'm still professional.
Hey, it's yeah. What would
all
we
right,
what
let's
would
talk
we
about.
do? Let's talk about Hearthstone. Oh God, you sound like, well, do we have to? Can we just talk more about fun games that people actually enjoy?
Oh, come on.
That's
Who doesn't enjoy roping hunters?
Oh, when you said roping, I played against a patron warrior who pretended to be life coach today on ladder. So what I like, I was playing just Science Dragon Shaman. So what I would do, like the guy robbed on me on turn one, so I just played my hero power and then went to make myself some tea, and then did the same thing to him every turn. So if you're pretending to be life coach, at least be good at the game, and at least think what you're going to do. Don't just rob to me to be a dick. I don't know what patron warriors usually do on turn one when they
They
don't have when they don't have
they
the
normally
point.
emote you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
I don't know. I don't know. Anyways,
We got some news to go over, don't we?
we do, dude. This is why
Yeah.
you will take over the show one day, because your hosting comes natural, apparently.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's start with the news recap of that. That's going to be the last 2 weeks, because that's how long we haven't had a show. And while Innervated was gone, a lot of things happened. Tom 60229 won assembly in Helsinki, Finland, reigning over the European Elite. Like, a lot of great names were gathered in Finland. It was a 25,000 tournament, so of the size of House Cup and ESL Legendary Series. And I would say Tom isn't a likely winner. Like, this is like he finished top 4 in Gfinity some weeks before, but Gfinity Summer 1 wasn't really a big event. It was just 8 players, most of them like underground or semi-known names. So I don't want to take anything away from Tom and the Gfinity finish, but compared to the win in Assembly, it's a huge step forward for the guy. And he actually went to compete in last BlizzCon, but didn't really go too well for him. And now he got his first major title. Powder got second, and Hoy and Vortex split the top 4. So did you guys actually see the tournament? I was on vacation myself, so couldn't quite.
Of course,
catch-
PhoneTap.
Yeah.
PhoneTap was there, so yeah, I was watching
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, comes with the job. Yeah, actually, I saw some really good plays. Like Powder, I was actually really impressed with, even though we all know about him kind of running his mouth at one thing leading up to Gamescom that ended up backfiring on him, which was really hilarious. But no, Powder, solid player. And, everybody gives Ho, like this, or Hoj, I can never pronounce that name, and I always feel like I'm
It's really
doing a
like
disservice.
Hoy. I mean,
Hoy. Thank you.
Hoy,
Thank
right?
you. The American in me wants to pronounce that J for some odd reason. So, I mean, a lot of people is like, oh, yeah, he was, a one-hit wonder, a fluke, and all this. And this is actually giving him some validity. And, of course, you got Vortex there from Fade to Karma, Toyoda's team, which, let's be honest, he's a great player.
I mean, he won
So-
the previous assembly, so he was defending the title.
Exactly.
Here. And
I
Exactly.
mean, Hori or whatever we want to call him. Like, even though he's a country of mine, I've also kind of looked at him as like he seems to get invited whenever it's our Gozu Gamers rating that gets judged for the invites, and it's like, well, we kind of haven't got a good system for delays for
Yeah.
for the late. So when Decay was it, so that was
Yeah.
But it seems like he's performing good enough to. Like,
I think he did well in some other tournaments, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just quickly check his profile.
yeah,
but-
he's been surprisingly active.
Yeah, what do you mean surprisingly? He doesn't play as much as other people. Obviously,
No,
but
I mean he
Yeah.
hasn't been like. I mean, his
yeah,
activity
he
in the last.
he played at DreamHack Summer.
Yeah,
Yes, he did.
yeah. I mean, his activity in the last few months have matched that of most pro players that isn't
Mhm.
completely in the top, and whereas in the first year he was like kind of one that was tired. So
Well, right now, as we're getting towards the whole, regional qualifiers, like everybody is hitting like every open event they possibly can to pad those scores, get that last, 10 points here, 10 points there, just to try to get into that sacred top 24 slot. So they don't have to do the, last chance qualifier.
well,
So it's actually quite amazing out there right now. And, I'm pretty sure he's hitting those as well.
Yeah, true. Like you have to compete really. Like it's
especially
more
when you're getting invites. Like there's no like those are for the
Well,
prep.
the invites are actually, if you notice, they have started declining, and we're getting more towards this open system, which is what a lot of people have been asking for.
We haven't had like any like all the big tournaments have qualifiers to some extent,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are.
I think a lot of that's forced by Blizzard, isn't
Yeah,
it?
of course. I mean,
Yeah, if you want points, which is what people really
what
want.
I'm saying is, in one way or another, the forcing of Blizzard worked. Like,
Yeah.
we get what people wanted. I mean, we still get fully invitationals, but they're mostly, well, now we consider them small time, like $5,000, which, like in 2014, would be, I wouldn't say a pretty big thing, but it would be the tournament to watch this week, for example, and now it's no longer the case. But anyways, moving on to some more news, Trig disbanded its Hearthstone roster, and Faramir, Jitsu, and Powder are now free agents.
Those guys just can't catch a break.
Oh man,
No, they can't.
Indeed. And this time they are reportedly owed a total of $18,000 in salaries. This is a report initially posted by Richard Lewis from the Daily Toad. And, well, it was going to happen sooner or later, to be frank. And for those of you who wonder why that is, Trig is actually a pretty grey organization. It's actually,
Understatement.
yeah, in April it was investigated for stock market fraud to the point that its auditor decided to break ties with them, to cut ties with them. And, during the audit, their subscriber numbers were questioned because Trig is essentially, built as a social media company, and they were questioning whether or not the numbers they're presenting are real, and many people doubted, justifiably so, that they're not. And when Trig actually launched, it promised some ludicrous, plans like a esports circuit, like Formula One style, held in Dubai in stadiums, which is like, you guys are not the international, like.
No.
It sounded like ESGN 2.0, and
Shots fired.
well, it's not even a shot. It's how things went. That they just.
No, you're 100% correct on that. I
It's
mean,
it.
they had lofty goals that they put out there to drive hype,
Yeah,
but in all honesty, there was no way in hell they could ever deliver on that shit.
I mean, it's in my country we have a saying that the dog that barks doesn't bite. I don't know if it's applicable in English, but when you see a company boasting like we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, usually it doesn't work out because
No.
the companies that are successful, they do instead of talk. And this was kind of the other way around. But PT4, Faramir, D2, and Powder, they again traveling through a lot of teams. They were in DKMR before they. I mean, Faramir was actually in Mana Grind before. D2 was, I would say, yeah, he was in DKMR initially. Powder was. Oh, remind me, where was Powder playing for?
I'm looking at his page right now.
Was it Teamless? Probably. He was White Powder initially, so he might
Yeah.
have just been. I think
second win. I'm looking at the team second win.
So I think he was like Teamless before he got recruited by DKMR. But again, they went to IHRTU, and what what sources have been telling me is that they had disagreements with the management there. Stuff got told to me.
I heard you wasn't doing anything but their content, so I mean, I guess that's.
Yeah, I mean it's
disagreement.
And we haven't seen anything from them since like February, so that's kind of a dead duck.
I mean that they don't have a team anymore, so yeah.
Sucks for Powder, like just earning 5K and getting kicked out.
Right.
I think.
I hope he hasn't like given, because I know some contracts actually say when a player earns a certain amount, some of it gets kicked back to the team. I hope he hasn't kicked that back yet. Just saying.
No, bro. It's gonna suck like if he's owed a salary and has to give them money on top of it. It's gonna
Yeah.
suck for Paulo.
Wait. You owe me this amount of money, and you want me to give you money.
Yeah.
This is like
But-
American financing at its finest here.
In all seriousness, now we like, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you think that there's anyone who's actually gonna look at, like both Hoi and Powder, like two Scandinavian with 5-digit winnings in 2015, and like because I don't know, it seems like pickups tends to be in groups like that, and
hmm
I mean,
I think they'll get picked up. I definitely think they'll get picked up.
true. I mean, they're all consistent players. I mean, D2 is not competing that actively anymore.
No,
And Faramir is.
yeah, hasn't been performing.
Yeah,
for-
I would say Faramir is on the decline, but Powder is as strong as ever.
Yeah.
But I don't think they will try to negotiate as a trio anymore because again they're in different places in Hearthstone. I would say like they're D2 is more streaming and casting nowadays, and Powder is still playing, and Faramir is still playing again, but again not getting results. They're not the same powerful trio that they were around the RHRTU time, where they would just appear at the tournament, win a qualifier, go to a tournament, and place really good. I mean, Faramir was top 10 EU at the end of the year, I believe. Concerning our rankings, Powder was pretty high too. D2 was, among the kings of NA, of course, not really at the height of Fireball or Strifecrow, but up there or getting up there.
He was a contender.
Yeah,
he was
definitely there. But again, I think that whoever of these three wants to get into serious Hearthstone or try to continue with serious Hearthstone, they will get picked up. For Powder, I have no doubt that he will find a team. I mean, a lot of, I don't want to say crop players, but less worse performing players are on teams and are good teams. So it shouldn't be a problem for Powder if he sets his mind to like, I want to find a team, and he should be able to find a team.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I mean,
yeah. In other news, the TGT is now more than 50% revealed after tons of new cards were shown in Gamescom. We'll get to discuss the new cards more in the main segment of the show. But Briggs, anytime, do you guys think the release date is approaching? Correct me if I'm wrong.
of course it is. Like
The 24th, yeah.
I mean,
24th. So on the 16th is when they announce the balance changes, and 2 days before
this was something like data mine, right? Not officially confirmed yet.
Well,
It wasn't a data mine. It was, it was the good old classic Windows clock, which is something you should never put anything hidden under, because everyone tries to put flash forward, and it didn't do anything. But it did. The ribbon for the packs was locked to that date. So if you fast forwarded that at one point, it would disappear when you put it at the 24th.
All right.
I think the 24th is like their tentative date they want to work on, but I wouldn't hold them to it because we're just now a little bit over half. They're not going to release it until like everything comes out, and that means if it's the 24th, we've got 2 weeks.
Yeah, but
I mean, there's also like, I would like to say, a buffer at which point, like, we're gonna know, like, it's not gonna launch the 15th at this point, because we would know, like, there's gonna be a buffer for the final release date that they're gonna tell us,
they will give a date at the very least, and
that'll probably come very soon. Like, I mean, if it's like the 25th or the 26th, it's starting to get a little pathetic to say August. Like, that's
Right.
promised.
And from the looks of it, like how they're releasing cards, I think the same situation as with GVG will repeat, where one day they will just say, okay, here are the remaining 40 cards. I think with GVG they released 54 or something at once. Now remember, this was a fun post to do.
I had to do a video on all of those. I was thinking, do I break this up or I do it as a one block? Did it one block. Oh man, that took all of my effort, man. That was so hard.
So, August 24, the unconfirmed but almost confirmed date. Coming, TGT packs. I still haven't bought a bundle because I'm waiting for my salary. Accountants, please, I need money to buy important things, life defining things. But anyways, far from TGT, and into the east, North America, Team NA defeated Team China in I'm not sure why I'm writing an 80K event, but it was $96,000 tournament, rather series of show matches. NA had Dog Farba, Teray, VLPS, and Deathstar V3. China had Com, Godslayer, and a few other Chinese names that I will never be able to pronounce. I think one of them was Zichen from Team Celestial, who won actually the qualifiers, but don't quote me on the other two players. So China still cannot really get a hold of winning such a China versus the West.
I feel like that's the entire driving force behind this series at this point. Like, will this be the time when China finally takes the win? And as
or
soon
will
as
we hear America? Fuck yeah!
Or will, like, as soon as China actually manages to get one, it's just gonna lose 75% of its viewer base because I
don't believe so.
I disagree. If China wins one, here's what ends up happening, right? The next time it comes around, like every American's gonna be watching. Yeah. Come on, America! You gotta win it for America, because that's stupid.
Because I look at these tournaments as probably one of the most interesting storylines, and I'm actually working on a feature to describe this, because it's really, when you think of rivalries, all the other esports have these player versus player or team versus team, but Hearthstone is so stacked of matches that you cannot really define a rivalry between players. You can somehow see between teams, but not really, because there aren't really many team tournaments where rivalries can be born, but
mostly because they're just teams that repeat each other actions, like Archon, Tempo Storm.
Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, like, the closest you get there is like when personalities collide. But
this is not really a rivalry. This is measuring of dicks. It's from a sports point of view, that's not really competition, right? Like, who gets more stream numbers, who is more popular. I don't care about this shit as a sports journalist, but China versus the West is something that has really captivated my my attention, and going all the way to 2013, even when the first such tournaments were announced, and these were such an exciting times because you get to see the clash of cultures of deck building, cultures of deck building practices, and now this has evolved to the point where China is did this huge country, huge player base that basically has endless amounts of talent, and it's trying to beat the West, whether it's North America, Europe, and it still cannot do it. And it's like, I'm sure that at the end of the year, when we do our Ghost Awards nominations, this will be one of the rivalries that we're going to talk about, because it's a unique thing in Hearthstone, especially. It's
well, hold on now. I mean, like, in these team events of America versus China, you're absolutely correct there. But let's not forget, last year WCA, who was number one, who was number two?
True. I mean about these events, like that are specifically China versus the West. I mean, of course, not only WCA, but what else was won by? There was the NetEase Invitational, where it was the Chinese against Tempo Storm. It was a small time invitational that again the Chinese won. So there are individual tournaments that the Chinese win, but again the WCA is the only one that stands over, and nobody really regards WCA because it was a crap tournament.
I'm not gonna lie, because I had a huge amount of commentary about that. First one's like, wow, your organizational skills, how you laid out your tournament, how the fact that you changed the rules of the tournament like right before the tournament starts. It was a nightmare.
But the important ones, the NA versus CN, the Europe versus China one that had a fucking Ferrari as an incentive for the Chinese players to sit on their asses and practice. And I'm still interested in how this rivalry will develop, because if you guys remember from previous episode when we had Skim on the show, like, he believes that the East will take over Hearthstone, and because they really are a lot of people there. And they really have, strict practice patterns. Like, if they set their minds on, they will accomplish anything. The problem with China is, like, I've spoken to Sin Tan, the manager of Team Celestial, and Dealer Celestial as well, and they said that, at least the big teams in China, like VG Gaming, like Edward Gaming, IAG, World Elite, they do not consider Hearthstone a proper esport. Like they don't consider it as serious as Dota or League of Legends. So they will have a Hearthstone division, but it will just be for streaming numbers or for popularity, these kind of things. They're not giving it the same attention, and this is why when we interviewed Tidler Celestial, he said that this is why he wanted to build his own team, because he's a Hearthstone guy. He wants to do something in Hearthstone instead of abiding to the ideas of another team that doesn't have Hearthstone on it as a priority. So again, it might take a while for the Chinese scene to find itself, to reestablish itself. They do have a shit ton of tournaments, really, and the price
Oh God, yeah.
are amazing, and they do get so much from streaming, even more than the Western pros do. So,
I mean, did you see that women's invitational that they did?
Oh God, oh, oh God!
I actually watched this thing. Oh my God. Okay, first of all, putting all your contestants in these little baby girl skirts or dresses. I didn't know if I was watching a tournament or a meat market. Trying to sell the illusion of sex. It was so blatantly bad.
It's like
the players did great in there, but I feel like they were just being put up on a pedestal for fucking geeks to frap off to.
Yeah.
I feel like the Western battle of gamers versus social justice warriors was set back 10 years because of that event.
Oh my God, yes.
This is,
I don't normally side with social justice warriors, but I have to agree on that one.
Chief, you have to admit that your otherwise favorite journalist column actually did a pretty good article on the subject.
That's one of the ones I will give him credit on. And while I don't really care for the man, I'm going to say this: he's right on a lot of things. It's just the way he goes about it I don't agree with.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a shit event. Like it's. I don't know if you guys remember this, because you don't probably follow all of esports, but there was actually, and this is no joke, although you will try not to laugh, but you will. I think it was in the Philippines, where an organizer wanted to organize a League of Legends tournament just for the LGBT community, and so you had to be lesbian, gay, transsexual, whatever, to attend, and they actually had these rules that a team can only consist of like 2 lesbians, 2 gays, and 1 transvestite. And you would read this, and you actually read the rule set, and it's like, is this The Onion? Is this Esports Express? Like, what am I reading? So this.
I got a question. How do you exactly prove that?
I know we
like, if a guy says yes, I'm signing up for this, does like somebody instantly whip out a schlong and go to it?
This is the first question my colleagues asked, like when I posted in live show, like how do you prove you're a gay, for example? Do you have to have sex with a man if you're a man? Like, yeah, I'm gay. Okay, you're on the team.
And they're gonna have to film the act and present the evidence.
I mean, how are you gonna tell if somebody's really a trans or just somebody who's willing to dress up in Rocky Horror for the night?
This is derailing the topic so hard, but it was incredibly fun. Unbelievable.
Next time on the Innervated, social justice warriors protest. Anyway.
Okay, and finally, going back to more recent events, Kulento won WCA Europe qualifiers. Pretty impressive run through the bracket. He went 0-3 in the group stage, so he was placed in the lower bracket, meaning he was 1 loss away from elimination. And then he beat first Ties, then Sivka, then Life Coach, finally 3-2 in the finals to win the whole event. 7,000 euros, I believe, was his prize.
Yeah.
Obviously, congrats to Kulento. He's an amazing player, proving once again that he can win shit, as if we didn't know this. Again, I mean, amazing performance. But, what happened after the tournament is people on Twitter expressed their discontent, or rather surprise, or, not being comfortable with the format. Because both actually Kulento and the winners of the Heroes of the Storm tournament, Team Liquid, they went 0-3 in the group stage. they felt completely like they lost so hard.
Yeah.
Then they, because everybody from the group stage advanced basically to the playoffs. The playoffs was just determine seedings. Team Liquid and Colento were both able to defeat all their opponents, and going essentially 3-3, so 50% win rate wins you the tournament. So, unsurprisingly, people found this bizarre. What do you guys think about how WCA Europe set this up? Because I have my own opinion, but I want to hear yours.
Well, as a tournament organizer, former tournament organizer, I looked at this, I went, like, literally, this makes, okay, I understand why they're doing it, but it's bad! I didn't really like it, and it was a little bit of a confusion. It was like, well, he's in the finals, right? It's like, yeah, I'm trying to explain this to my team owners, like, no, not really. And it was not a fun scenario. And a lot of people also agree with this. This is not how you really want to run a tournament. I understand the concept of double elimination for tournaments like this, and yes, I actually agree with it. But the way they did it here, I do not agree. I think it was just really, really bad. Though, props on Colento. He actually proved why a double elimination actually works. Like, oh, you did bad here, but now here's your last chance to try to go for the gold. That whole wild card thing, Cinderella story, it tells a story.
No,
and
it's not a Cinderella story in terms of Colento.
No, it wasn't at that point. Because, trying to say Colento is a Cinderella story is like...
No,
It's like saying Donald Trump had a, rise from, rich to rich there,
Yeah.
It's just, no. But I'd like to point out, look at the top three you had there. Colento, monster of the EU scene. Life Coach, another monster of the EU scene. Stan Sivka, up-and-coming monster of the EU scene. If ever you needed to see the power of the EU Hearthstone, it's right there.
Yep.
Right there.
And
I mean, that's kind of also a sign of what would be considered a legitimate format. Like, if you have rock solid players that can perform and they can consistently get to the top, there really isn't. Like, I mean, a format is problem if every time it's just complete random folks who get up there by the luck of the draw, but this is not the luck of the draw. These guys are the most skilled there is, and the format allowed them to take advantage of that. Like,
not to mention the fact you got Life Coach there getting the most perfect druid hands every single time. It's like, oh, look, he gets an Innervated and a Wild Growth in his opening hand. How's he to lose? He doesn't.
I have my own take on the WCA format. I understand why they did it. Like, they had 4 players and they had to fill 5 days of Gamescom, right? So they had to do this kind of group stage into playoffs and into 2 matches a day. But it shouldn't have been this elimination bracket. Like, when you have just 4 players, double elimination bracket doesn't make sense, right? Because it's just too few players. Like, what I would have wanted them to do is, if you guys, I don't know if you follow StarCraft 2, but in the old MLG days, they would use this bubble race bracket, and now this can work for, like, it was a mess for a lot of players because it was difficult to follow, but if you have 4 players, you can actually start, this 3rd place, 4th place, and then the winner plays number 2, and then the winner of this match plays number 1. So if you win your group stage, you're automatically in the finals. If you are finish bottom 2, you're 1 game away from elimination. So, and again, if you're number 2 in the bracket, you're 1 in the middle basically. So this would have been a better format, I think, and it would have actually mattered if you got 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, 4th in the group, something like this.
Yeah, it's a classic format. I mean, it has the common flaw, so to speak, that it's possible to get eliminated from this format by the same player, because you lose to him, and then you lose your first match, and then you go to the down bracket where you win. But turns out he lost. But that winner that you lost to lost. So you win. So you win against you in the losers match, and he loses in the winners match. And then you go up against the same player again, and then you lose to the same player again, having been eliminated essentially by 1 player. And that's kind of the weakness of that format. That's
Yeah.
been the common theme.
People said that they would have wanted to see an advantage for the upper bracket finalists,
Oh,
and this.
oh God, no extended series.
No
No
extended series, but
extended
just
series.
no fuck extended series, but at least start with
Like,
1-0 ahead or something like
ah,
this. Again, it
don't.
why not? Or at least standard double elimination brackets. If you wanna play double elimination bracket, usually
Thank you.
the guy that comes from the lower bracket has to win 2 series. Like why this
Yeah,
has.
I can agree with that, and I think that's kind of the reasonable option. I will never agree with extended series.
No, I'm not suggesting
I'm-
extended series, and it's
Yeah.
way too complicated to explain extended series to the viewers because it was just MLG thing, and even they dropped it after people said.
I barely understand it, and I'm a tournament organizer.
Yeah.
Former one.
I'm a journalist and I cannot replicate this. Anyways, it's
Yeah.
wow.
Anyway, like I can agree with double series. I think that's reasonable, and that's definitely something to.
Yeah, in any ways, I did enjoy WC actually. I mean, I got to watch some of the group stage, and then the entire playoffs. I think they did a pretty good job.
I just hated the timing that they did it. Like
I
they were
mean-
listing the times on the website. Like Hearthstone will be in the next, coming up in an hour, such and such on the thing, and it would like count down.
I
And
mean, this is the
you
problem.
know,
This is the problem. when you
I'm
run-
having set my alarm, and that clock was 2 hours off.
This is the problem when you run everything on one stream because they had Warcraft 3, Heroes, Hearthstone, and what other game did they have? I think
It's like. It's quite amazing that Warcraft 3 like this was actually the greatest Warcraft 3 event ever in
Oh,
terms
God,
of prize
yeah.
pool, and it's years after Blizzard themselves stopped supporting this game.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck?
It's a weird thing, but Warcraft 3 is still big rather in China, and WCA is a Chinese event by origin, so they
Yeah,
they also
I mean,
have
they are
cross.
They were the spiritual successor to the World Cyber Games, right?
Yeah, no. That was going to be WCEG, but
Nice.
that nothing really happened out of it. WCA is basically like WEC, a big Chinese organization pumping money
Okay.
for promotional purposes. There hasn't been any real successor of WCG, and I like there to be at least it's a spiritual successor. I don't want it to be anything else like WCG because WCG was a train wreck in its last years.
I know. That's why I'm watching the stream.
Oh yeah,
2 a.m. European time.
WCG, man. Like I remember this is how I got into writing about these sports because a friend of mine linked me like, hey, now they're uploading WCG videos now, and I was just only hearing about WCG before they got on the internet, like an actual VODs. And I always wanted to watch professional gaming, so when this happened, like they uploaded it from I think 2002, something all VODs, and it was amazing. Like I still go back and try to find VODs of Warcraft 3 matches, StarCraft 2 matches, StarCraft 1 matches. Right, it's amazing. Anyways, let's continue with the Hearthstone because we derailed this several more times. Let's talk more about the TGT. Again, I mean it's going to be a hot topic for at least this and another 1 or 2 episodes. The goddamn thing launches in even after this. I got it. So new cards were revealed in batch at Gamescom, and a lot of them came with a new mechanic. Now it's not keyworded, but Blizzard guys call it Joust. And
Yeah, it makes.
yeah, I mean, because everything is something jouster usually.
Yeah. I'm going to break down what Joust actually is. Joust is nothing more than that kid's game War, all right? I declare war. That's exactly what it is. And like some of the Joust cards are actually pretty cool, but not really. The best one there is the 1-drop, because one that gives you insight of what type of deck your opponent is playing, because there's multiple different variations of on each class. So being able to know what that is will allow you to kind of hold something back specifically for a certain play rather than playing it on curve or whatever. So I like that. I think that one's actually probably the best one out there.
What
But
was it? The one mana Joust.
Zombie
moment.
Chow,
Or reveal a
Joust.
minion deck if yours. Oh,
Yeah.
it gets 2-3. Yeah,
Yeah.
if it wins the joust. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a solid one right there. So half the time it's going to be a 2/3. Half the time it's not. But who cares? It's information and it's a good one drop. And personally, I think we'll see that card being used in a lot of decks.
No. I still
I'm not
think
so
Zombie
sure.
Chow is
It's
better.
a one drop's not really very compatible with the joust mechanic, but
Okay, Zombie Shell has the downside that playing it anytime after turn 3 can be counterproductive. To where this, not so much.
No,
Mhm.
we'll see. I actually like the Tusker Jouster, the Paladin one, the 5/5/5.
God, that guy is so good.
Yeah, that actually.
I feel
resolved.
like it's another one of those cases where Paladin got the card because they didn't want mill decks to have it. Like, like they got Dragon Consort because they didn't want warriors to be able to charge Alexstrasza again. So, and this is another one of those. Well, the healing's way too strong, but we give it to the class that already has infinite healing.
And let's point out, he's riding a turtle.
He's right.
That's just
Fucking
awesome,
turtle.
no matter how you try to fucking cut it. That's just awesome. It's a 5/5 body. Come on.
Yeah.
Anyways, what do you guys actually think of the mechanics? Like, I've heard a lot of takes on it. Some think it's way even more unnecessary volatility to the game. Some seem it's decent, and actually Stanislav Sivko, when we interviewed him at Gamescom, he said that it's an actually good deck building mechanic. So you have to think what kind of minions you want to put in. Like, do you want to be fast or do you want to win the jousts?
Like, yes, of course it's RNG, but this is the kind of RNG that every card game has. I don't think I know a single GG that doesn't have the whole flip a card from your deck, And it's not quite, random, but might as well be. Like, I mean, we have those cards in Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Like, I mean, this is classic trading card RNG.
It really is. You go back to some of the original cards for Magic the Gathering. There was actually cards in there that says flip a coin.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah, but here I like it that it's not flip a coin. Really,
it's kind of like a loaded dice. Like, you have the advantage if
you build it for
the correct
jousting.
matchup.
Yeah,
like,
or
in the correct matchup. Like, you're never gonna play it. You're never gonna build a joust deck to go up against control matchup because the odds are just too bad.
Well, it depends. Like, you can actually win against controller half of the
no,
time.
because your ties don't matter. Like, that's what brings the odds down. Like, you're not gonna play joust cards in control matchups. Like, never.
Yeah.
But at least you're not gonna build to play up against control matchups.
I think tournament-wise, these guys aren't overly that great. But I mean, on ladder-wise, I think the joust mechanic is actually really good. In tournaments, you pretty much know what your opponent is going to bring most of the time. So that little bit of information and those little cool effects. I mean, the cool effects are really cool, but do you really want to put a card that 50% of the time is going to fail on you?
I mean, I don't know. Like the master one, the Sunwalker at +1/+1. I think that's
this
actually
one, yeah.
Yeah, I think that one's actually solid enough to the point. Like, Sunwalker is just slightly below what's good enough, and I think that one might just do the trick. Like, it trades with the high main. Good.
Oh, yeah. It does. It really does.
Like, it trades really good with a high main. Like, and Hunter does not have a way to break the shield easily, so it's owl or bust.
Yeah, pretty much owl or bust.
All right. So, you guys like it overall, the joust mechanic?
I think it's really cool. I think it's an interesting new thing that I can't wait to see what people come up with. I mean, I can theory craft stuff left and right off of what I've seen, but without the complete picture, it's just going to be bad.
I really like to see more early game jousters, actually.
Yeah.
But
again, that's one of those things that, like, I mean, I like the lance. That's a kind of example because it's early game, but it's not, it doesn't burden the deck by its presence because it's of its low cost.
I'm still on the fence about Origin Lens because I already think, Paladin has way too many weapons. Because you want Master,
Maybe.
and
Yeah, I guess.
we'll see, we'll see. Like,
I mean, the thing is, Paladin. Oh, another thing, Paladin haven't really had. We don't have Dark Bomb. We don't have, the Wind Axe. Like, we haven't really had any deal direct damage that early. So, like, I feel like this is kind of the closest we have yet. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Paladin will never get Winex anyway, so because
Thank
No.
God.
the class is supposed to work differently.
of course, and Warriors and Paladins already share enough cards.
And
Like-
speaking of Paladin, that new legendary, the Super Outdoor Peacekeeper.
Follow the fucking rules.
Oh my God.
Anyways, we started speaking about cards, and we're gonna go over some of the more interesting ones, I believe, because there are way too many cards to review all of them before this podcast gets way too long and boring. But I'm gonna start with the legendaries we got to see between the last time we had an episode, which is 2 weeks ago, and now. And I'm gonna start with the Twin Valkyr. And yeah, I'll just put the first one right now, which is Adis. So if you guys don't know, I mean, Sumuldin will know better, but I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown. There were actually bosses in Trial of the Crusader, which was one of the raids during Wrath of the Lich King. So it was quite a different, mechanic that you had to switch, targets and whatnot, and each Valkyrie did different effects if you target the wrong one. If I'm not mistaken correctly, I did this boss so many times and I still can't remember the mechanic 100%. But anyways, so we have Adis Darkbane. So first of all, Adis and Fiola are two early game legendaries, and I've been yearning for this for a long time. We even did a card contest based on this because we have way too few early game legendaries, and what we have is crap if it's not Blood Mage Stalnos. So Blood Mage Stalnos is there to be awesome.
Well,
and
because they were all nerfed.
yeah, but before that they
Yeah.
were all bunkers, so thank God for being nerfed.
Okay, I'm sorry. No. That Pega was not that bonkers.
Shut
Thank
up.
you very
We're not
much.
going into this discussion. We're gonna have someday an episode of thank God this was nerfed, tagline, but it is not this day. This day we fucking talk the Grand Tournament. We do not mourn over the past. So we have Adis Darkbane, which says whenever you target this minion with a spell, deal direct damage to a random enemy. And I know that many priest players said, "Yay!"
Oh,
yay,
God, yeah.
Yay! I can shield this for days and kill all your stuff. And now I have early game removal, and I don't have to run.
With like your
Paramount.
17th free drop.
What?
With
Yeah,
your
that's
17th free drop.
well, actually, yeah, right. it gets crowded. It's like for priest, the 3 drop is like Paladin's 4 drop or Druid's 5 drop, right?
Yep.
It's like there's no other class that is so bottlenecked like these 3 classes, I believe. Like all the other classes are pretty fluid, but these like priest, paladin, and druid, god, they're bottlenecked so hard. And priest is like, I believe that either it is or Fiola, or maybe both will be in priest decks because they sound really good. They sound something like you can power word shield, do the cool stuff with it.
I mean, yeah, the Divine Shield one, I don't. Which one's Lightbane? Is that Idis?
Yeah,
I think it's Idis.
it's Fiola.
Yeah.
No, Adis is Darkbane.
Yeah.
It is Darkbane. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I think like generally speaking, I think they're gonna be used together because they have the same trigger mechanic. So they're probably gonna be used simply as a redundancy. Like it's kind of like a legendary you can have 2 off, but it's a different effect. Darkbane's definitely the stronger one because it's much more aggressive, and generally speaking, it can also stack better. Like you can't just throw 2 Divine Shield on Lightbane.
Yeah.
But you could throw 6 damage at random enemies, so...
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much, and I heard that's pretty good. So
Yeah, and I see Adis as having a place in both aggressive and and control decks. I mean, a bit more in control decks because they want to, kill stuff
I
on the
don't
board.
like which control decks have access to the kind of spells that can activate this. Like,
I mean, you can. Okay, not control. What if you play it in Druid and then you run it, you draw a card, you kill something? Well, people have been.
You're gonna
Wrath your own
Wrath.
minion.
Yeah, why not?
I feel like you.
I mean, it's not bad, but
mean,
it's
No.
You run
not good.
No.
If you can deal 3 damage,
Like,
why
I
run
think-
something else?
I think the decks that's gonna find. Like, I'm definitely gonna try Spare Parts Valkyrie. Like,
There you go.
Like Spare Parts Valkyrie, and I don't know, maybe Gaslow if I'm feeling insane.
It's not a bad play.
I mean, it's basically Flamewaker Tempo, right?
Yeah,
Pretty
like,
much, yeah.
but stronger with Spare Parts, so. I don't know. That's what I'm gonna try.
Yeah, and people in Twitch chat saying Druid has Mark of the Wild. So you taunt the motherfucker, and then you deal 3 damage, and
You get a big ass taunt, yeah.
let's.
And I mean, let's not forget that these are both solid 3/4s. Like, they are.
Even
They are solid 3/4s, but I want you to also understand these are investment cards. You literally have to invest other resources into it in order to make that effect worthwhile. So that means you actually have to dedicate deck slot to that.
Yeah, it's not like they're broken just because they're.
Right. I mean, it's good for tempo, but I mean, it doesn't really. It's good for tempo, and it kind of helps get you towards your end game, but it's not a make or break card.
Yeah, true. And yeah, here is Fiala Lightbane on stream. It's 3 mana, 3/4 once again. Whenever you target this minion with a spell, gain Divine Shield. Again, I feel it's a bit underwhelming compared to her sister.
This is the ugly sister.
Yeah, this is the ugly sister, even though I think her... I cannot really see boobs from here, but I would still vote for Avis.
Valkyries are mostly transparent anyway, so don't worry.
Oh, God.
It's good she's transparent because that her ability sucks.
She's transparent. She doesn't have a complex personality whatsoever.
Nope.
Anyways, let's bring up another. I would say the Trial of the Crusader boss, and everybody's favorite.
Boss, actually.
What's end boss? Yeah, the end boss of the Trial of the Crusader. It's good old Nubarak. We had to fight him in Curse of Naxxramas, right? As one of the bosses.
No, that's not him.
That was
That's
a Nubrakan.
Oh, it was a Nubrakan, right? I'm a retard. Yes, right.
Yeah, but isn't he in Heroes of the Storm though?
A Nubarak?
Nubarak?
Yes, he is. Yes.
The Nubarak is in Heroes of Storm. He was also in Warcraft 3. Like, he is old body of Arthas.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a Nubarak, 9 mana, 8/4. On death threat, return this minion to your hand and summon a 4/4 Nerubian. So being 4 health, it means it's going to die a lot. But
like, I'm looking at
in.
9 mana cost, and I'm like, does it win the game instantly? Okay.
Nope.
No. All right. Trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, rogues don't have a good way of ramping this out. I mean, yeah, sure, you got Emperor Thurzan, you got that new cut purse. You could try to make this argument, and yeah, I'd love to see this. It's just not going to work. It's not consistent.
I mean,
just
I would see this.
Rock solid for arena, but aside from that,
of course.
Yeah, I mean, you might see this from Unstable Portal more than you'll see it from fucking a Rogue's Hand.
you're gonna see he's a licensed shredder driver for the big shredder. Like, that's Sneeze.
No.
I mean,
getting this off Sneeds is going to be great.
yeah, but there aren't many decks who play Sneeds in the first place, and I see this as one Iron Big Owl away from being, the worst turn you've ever played in your life, and it's just for again for 9 mana.
Red Steed into Iron Beak Owl is the worst turn you've ever played.
You paid 4 mana for that garbage thing.
God. So yeah, like I mean, the effect is really cool, but it would be cool if it wasn't the 9 mana card. Really, like, come on, guys. Like,
I mean, it's
Rogue.
BGH proof though. Let's say that it is BGH proof. Oh, so you BGH me? Well, here I got something that's gonna trade with your BGH, and I'm just gonna play it again. Have a nice day.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
9 mana again. Yeah, that's
Yeah, no.
no.
Oh.
So yeah, Valdan and Uberak, 3 no's. That's good to know. We should start grading this. Let's start grading this. The Angry Chicken do this, and they're smart people. Actually, if you don't listen to the Angry Chicken, go subscribe. But that's another topic. Let's bring up the Druid legendary. It's Aviana, which again is another card that has an amazing effect. So it reads your minions cost 1, but it's a 9 mana 5/5.
Yeah, the thing about it's once again
There's a
it's
huge
9
difference,
mana.
though.
Yeah.
It's 9 mana, but this time it's like you can actually instantly win the game.
Exactly. Let's not forget Druid, Masters of the Ramp. It don't matter what else. They can get this out earlier than anything else.
Yeah,
They can get this out on turn 5 at this point
Yeah,
with one card, which we get to.
Yeah, this is
Actually, they can get this out turn 2.
yeah with double Innervate.
No, that new spell.
Yeah, okay, well, whatever.
We'll get to that, but it's not very good in that case. So
No.
But anyways, Aviano really liking this card. It sounds powerful because it is. And
It is.
you know, we've been not only like on turn 10. Sure, you can get her and 1 legendary, like a Rag or Scenarios. You know, immediately get massive board all of a sudden, and you know, staying until turn 10 alive as a druid is not really hard because this is how they do things.
it's not gonna be turn 10. It's like turn 8.
Yeah, and on top of it, it's going to be innervated. It's going to be well crowded out. It's going to come out early, and not to mention that if you play it on turn 10, normally you can still innervate and play 3 big threats all in the same turn if you have them in hand. And well, you're a druid, you have Ancient of Lords, you have shit in your hand.
Yeah, and as long as one of those is a Kel'Thuzad, you win.
You love your fucking Kel'Thuzad, don't you? Like
I love Kel'Thuzad. I mean, at that point, literally, it's like Deathwing or Bust or Twisting Nether. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind like Druid is definitely looking to be the winner of this expansion. Like the 2 drops is awesome. The 4 drops is interesting.
I agree. Like
And the legend, the spells are really innovative, and the legendary is powerful. Like it's
I still
okay.
say Shaman got a huge boost though, but yeah, Druid,
Yeah, like we
everything
haven't
else
seen
is
the
just
legendary yet, so I mean.
I love it. I mean, I'll probably go back to maining Druid as I used to do before I switched to Paladin and then to Warrior and then to Mage. So you know, again, what I'm seeing from Druid, including Kaviana, but a lot of the small cards as well. Like I'm fan of cheap, elegant designs. We'll get to some of those later in the show. But again, Aviana, awesome, all across the board. Yes, auto include in Druid decks. Yeah, very likely. Do you guys think that this will force Druid, well, not force, but incentivize Druid players to do more ramp slow builds so they can get, you know, Ancient of Wars cheaper, Ragnaros cheaper? Do you still think that Force of Nature combos will be prevalent in
I still think Force of Nature combos are going to be prevalent, and here's why. These are great concepts here with this big body, you know, like layout. But here's the problem: aggro still exists. Aggro's still going to run you down before you can get to that. So,
all right,
it's because of that I still think Fast Druid's always going to have a place. And then, you know, let's not forget there's Warrior. All right, Warrior is like, oh, you're playing big minions. That's fine. I've got a slew of armor. Let's go. So, I still think you need that big burst, and big body minions, yeah, that can help with that, but not as consistently as the fast combo is.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's move on to another card. It's Edric the Pure. 7 mana, 3/7, Paladin Legendary, Battle Cry, change all enemy minions attack to 1. So it's a massive outdoor Peacekeeper, and I love it! Yes! Oh god,
Look up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! No, it's Edric the Pure, the super outdoor Peacekeeper!
Yes, I don't know if I'm gonna play it. I don't know if I'm gonna play Paladin ever again. But I love it. Just
It's probably
It's
like
not gonna see play, but
I don't care about this.
I disagree. I
Okay, let's.
disagree.
You guys go with it.
Palicious.
I'm too biased about this card because I love outdoor peacekeepers. So,
Okay.
Stefan, why don't you like it?
it's a 7 mana, 3/7, and what it does. Like, here's the thing: Paladin have the tools to deal with what this card already deals with. Like, if we really need to be dealing with a bunch of really big ass minions, we put in a second equality and we laugh all the way to the bank. Like, I mean, that's kind of the problem with this minion. It's covering something that Paladin already have the tools to deal with better than before. And yeah,
Sure, but it's,
like
you can look at it as a fifth equality rather, because you have two equalities, you have two others, and you get this. So it's another.
like, is it like at that point I'm like, why don't I just play Deathwing? Like, I mean,
Yep,
if
thank
I
you.
really,
'Cause
if I
it's
really
true.
need a plan D, I'm gonna play Plan
Plan D.
Deathwing.
Well, come on. Paladins have like Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. Why not a D?
That's
Like, you took out my Tyrion and you Harrison Jones my weapon. Okay, then. Plan C4.
Plan C4. Alright.
Yes,
Yeah,
which is
because
pretty much, all right, I just go muster for battle and then throw down the quartermaster.
I mostly like this against slower mid-range decks like Druid against some form of Demon Logs. I think it will see play. Of course, not an auto include in
It
Paladin
doesn't
decks.
really work that well against Mal'Ganis, though. They'll just
No.
become three attack
Yeah,
again.
but against like handlocks, like, oh, you've got
Yeah.
two Molten Giants out. Nope, they're 1/8s. Have a nice
Yeah,
day.
but again, I'm like, that's when I throw in my second equality right now. If I'm actually if I'm playing Paladin and I'm like, there's too many fucking handlocks, I'm like, all right, bring it, idiots.
Yeah, but still, like sometimes even two equalities are not enough. It's still good to have another one. Like,
Then I play big game hunter. Like, I mean, I'm like, look, I have the tools to deal with. Like, that's the problem, really. Paladin have the tools to deal with the decks that this minion
all right.
claims. So
That's fine.
I don't know.
You will
But
not.
there's a reason why it'll see play, but I'll get to that later. So we can just move on.
Okay. We're
Alright.
moving to, well, surprise, another Trial of the Champion boss. It's Gormog the Impaler. 4 mana, 4/4, legendary neutral one, which reads: if you have Battle Cry, if you have at least 4 other minions, deal 4 damage. Now the question is, do we really need another deck another card that wants you to play small aggro minions?
Yes.
I
Because you
feel
look
like-
at some of the other stuff Druid is getting, this plays very well into it. Echoing Ooze plays into it well. A lot of things play into this well. Token, deck, have fun with it.
I don't know. It's kind of like, I mean, no, I mean, it can't actually be compared to the warrior at 4 mana 3/4/3. What's the name? The Charger, whatever.
Okay,
Corcoran
Corcoran Elite.
Corcoran Elite, yeah, it can act. Like, it's kind of like a better that, but with a much harsher condition. Like,
Yeah.
if you could reliably charge, like, with that, it would be a warrior deck like that, but
I see this as more as used for like a token type deck, because one of the bigger problems with token decks is you just don't have a good removal tool to get rid of like that taunt they're going to throw down, and then you end up trading all your tokens into it, and then you have nothing on the board. Well, now, hey, you got these tokens, boom, boom, wipe out the taunt with very minimal trade.
Yeah, but how many classes actually run, token decks? Like, I can actually see it in Shaman maybe as your
Shaman,
as your
Druid
third-
has a possibility because
Sure, but
Savage World just
Paladin
makes
is
everything
probably gonna
disgusting.
try it. Like we don't know exactly to what extent Paladin will take the
Yep.
token theme, but we know that it's gonna be bigger than before. So
Yeah,
Right,
sure.
and also that Inspire card that gives you Silverhand recruits, that can also aid in any of these decks too.
Nah, I don't. I think it's a bit too slow for this for the Regent. it was
Yeah.
European region or something. But I do believe that at least paladins for Misr because they have a easy way to generate tokens, and shamans because well it's things like Tusker Totemic and their hero power they constantly produce minions, and if you've played shaman enough, and even if you haven't, you know how awesome
Yeah.
fire elemental is. And now as I said, I'm playing dragon shaman, and it's amazing because I have four fire elementals with Blackwing Corruptor. It's really
You know
great
what?
to put something on the board and kill something.
Another thing that I want to say about why this is reasonable in Shaman is because Shaman's one of the few classes where having 4 minions is not just I win already. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
it's like, well, okay, it's 4 totems, and that's actually just part of me being a class and being on turn 8. Like, it's not like, well, I guess I can just win times 1 million instead of times
Yeah, but this really kills
1,000.
a lot of important stuff that you actually want to remove, like armor smiths. It removes patrons, warsong commanders. Like if you run out of removal, it deals a lot of damage to druid, and will this plus something flame tongued, you will kill like a druid of the clawing even in taunt form, which is actually a pain to deal with. It soften up sludge belchers. It does 4 damage is quite a lot. It kills.
I'm gonna use it in a zoo variant, maybe even with a Murloc
Yeah.
type thing, because
No,
I start thinking about it, like haunted creepers, implosions. I could get value out of this guy.
but again, I don't. I'm not sure about Zoo because Zoo decks are pretty tight at the moment, and you have a lot of 4-drops with Defender of Argus and Implosion. But I mean,
I can see them taking out Defender Faggots for this. Like,
One defender,
one
yeah.
defender
One
for this, yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's a legendary already, so you're not gonna be taking.
Yeah, probably
Right.
you're not gonna run 2 Gormox, right? So.
Right. I mean, if you've got the board and you play this on curve, that's great because as a zoo player, your next play most likely is going to be Loetheb if you can pull it off, or just some other minion and a tap, or tap and another minion.
Okay, let's move on to some more as I level them into our podcast cute, quote-unquote, cards. And we start with a very interesting druid common called Living Roots. And Living Roots is a 1-mana spell which says choose 1, deal 2 damage, or summon 2 1/1 saplings. And it's probably my favorite common of the set so far, really. I love it.
Oh yeah. I mean, finally a 1-drop spell for druids that people will want to play.
Yeah, it's I mean, druids right now they have one mana option. It's Zombie Chow, and this is better because it works both as a removal and as a board presence. And
It's also a great card for jousting decks because once again we have a rock solid early game spell.
Yeah.
That's not counts as in the joust, so it's gonna increase your odds, and
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
It's again the wannabe card designer and in me just screams in delight at this minute. This spell, it's fantastic. This is why Druid is probably one of the strongest classes in terms of TGT, as you Stefan said it. We've seen a lot of cards and nothing really comes close in terms of just simple and elegant design that actually does good work. Because
I mean, another thing, like this is another card that actually Malagos Druid might actually make a comeback because
Oh my god.
now they have the double Moonfire into Living Roots, and we haven't even started innovating out anything yet. This is a turn.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it. It has so many applications. First of all, I don't have to use Wrath to overkill a Knife Juggler. I don't have to hero power into a Leopard Gnome. I don't because I just can use a 1/1 token to clear it. Like it does so many things. It fills a gap that Druid had for so many expansions. Now that this early 1-game presence. Kind of reminds me what Muster for Battle did for Paladin, right? Paladin was like did this powerful class in theory that lost because its early game sucked balls for days, and Muster for Battle like, hey, here's a removal and a board generation in one, and this is kind of the same thing. You have to choose one or the other, but again, this has always been Druid's niche. Like, okay, I adapt to the situation, and I extract the best of it. And this is a great card.
Oh, I love this card. I love this card. And this is what makes me think we might be able to get away with some sort of zoo-type archetype in Druid. This and a few other things that they're coming out with, because they're low drop, they're very effective, and they'll lead to some really interesting scenarios. You just have to build the deck correctly.
Okay, let's see where... Oh, I thought I downloaded this card. Let me...
Failstone.
Oh, shut up. It's a epic shaman card.
Epic shit.
Epic shitty card. But I just wanna bring it up because it's epically shit. It's Charge Hammer. It's a 4-mana 2/4 shaman weapon. That's rattle your hero power becomes deal 2 damage. So you no longer summon totems, which again is is the interesting part. And instead you become a mage on steroids. Now, in theory, the effect is something I can dig. The problem is, it's overpriced as hell.
So, I mean, you literally have to coin this out on 3,
and then
play Power Mace the next turn.
Yeah, you actually have to put another weapon over this, or this, and then Doomhammer to start doing something, because starting on turn 4, you are not going to hit stuff in this phase because A, it cannot kill anything, and B, it has 4 charges. So the only way to trigger this is play another weapon, which means that...
And you're never gonna do it like that. That doesn't... Like, as much as...
It's
like,
so
I've tried it. I've tried, weapon overlay strategies before. Like, it's not... Like, it's not... It's the pure exception. Like, I look at this, I feel like it's something... Like... I feel like there were some of the designers that wanted to give Sulfuras to shamans. It's like, well, turns out it's broken as shit, so we're going to give them a weaker version of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I brought this card up not because it's good, but because it changes hero power, and we really don't have a lot of cards like this. We have, Shadow Form for Priest, we have Steam Wheel Sniper, we have Fallen Hero, but Fallen Hero for Mage actually only amplifies it, doesn't really change it. And this is one of the very few cards that actually change the hero power, and for Shaman nonetheless, and I find it interesting, if not good. So if...
It is interesting, it's just... garbage.
Yeah, it's...
Like, I wouldn't even want to take this in Arena. Like, what are my other epic choices here, This or Doomhammer? Doomhammer.
Well.
Yeah. Oh, again. Anyways, let's move on to somewhat better card. And this is why Stefan said that Paladin tokens might become a thing even more now. It's Warhorse Trainer. It's 3 mana 2/4 Paladin minion, which reads, your Silver Hand recruits have +1 attack. And now the wet dream of conning out Muster for Battle into turn 3 Warhorse Trainer for 7 damage is actually real on turn 3. Mm-hmm. So yay! Now, is this the card that will actually bring Paladin even... I mean, back in the meta, because I remember when Muster for Battle launched, Paladin actually won like 2 tournaments. It was one of the best classes for a while before people figured out it was still shit. But now we have this.
I mean, we need... Like, first of all, we haven't seen any Paladin cards yet. We've got a big surge, but realistically, we haven't seen enough to make a full judgment on exactly how powerful, how many recruits can they recruit. I mean, because we've seen a lot, we have the Silver Hand Current, which is a Paladin card in disguise, and then we have the new just a card that doubles our hero power and does it in a way that no other doubled hero power can match it. So suddenly, even the best classes to deal with recruits before suddenly can't keep up.
Yep. Nope.
So, how powerful is that? Because recruits are powerful with equality. I've tried that. It's pretty damn strong. Can it be powerful enough to catch up? And in that case, this is a really solid minion. It's gonna be at least one off. I think.
At least, and
Yeah.
you know, the one thing that Twitch chat is pointing out, unlike Quartermaster, this actually buffs future Silverhand recruits, so you can play this, and then if it remains in play, you now spawn 2-1 recruits instead of.
Not too relevant, but yeah.
It's still a factor.
I disagree with that. That is very relevant.
It's very relevant. Like if you manage to keep the Warhorse Trainer alive behind stones or shit like a Neutron or whatever, it's gonna give you so much value over the long run. And
Yeah.
again, if even if it comes in the late game, just like Quartermaster,
I mean, it's in the late game you're gonna have the most recruits, indeed.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and then you can essentially double your damage from the recruit. So,
And let's be honest, there is a lot of AoE potential out there in the game, but nobody really wants to tech most of it.
yeah,
And so once you wipe one, it's going to be really easy to refill again.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, we haven't really, like, this is one of those things, like, we don't know how strong Token Paladin is,
Yeah.
but they have gotten a lot of options.
and
Yes, they do.
Again, cars like Warhorse Trainer and stuff like Tusker Totemic, for example, they remind me of the thing that I love about TGT so far the most, is that they diversify the classes even more. They find what makes the class special, and they push it to extremes. And this is what I really feel that Hearthstone should do. Make each class is unique, and feel like you're playing a paladin. Like playing a paladin should be you recruit this army step by step, and the army grows and becomes stronger.
Right.
Right now playing paladin doesn't feel like this. It feels like a struggle to not die, and then you play Tyrann, and then you cross your fingers to not get all the other removals that are in the game thrown at him, and everybody keeps at least one against Tyrann because this is your only win condition. It doesn't feel very paladin-y. But
You've obviously never played the aggro pally that's out there now. That's not but little white weenie tokens.
it's not a paladin either. It's face hunter in disguise. Sorry, but
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it is.
it's not a paladin. I want to see my army grow. Feel like I'm marching to victory.
Yeah. I think you are, because there's gonna be a lot of recruits.
And
God,
speaking of cars that feel like the classes, I want to bring Radgard, right?
God.
Radgard. So Radgard is a warlock demon, naturally. 2 mana, 4/3. Whenever this minion takes damage, also deal that amount to your hero. So it's an early game minion, again, because it's a demon, it has its drawback, and the drawback feels very warlocky. You harm yourself to get something good.
So basically hard countered by Flame Lance and Pirate Strike.
Hard countered by Shield Slam.
Yeah, that too.
Oh my god. Shield Slam, 1 mana, get wrecked, Warlock. You're out of here. Alright, Control Warrior sees this pop off a freaking Pilot Shredder. They go, well played, well played, well played. They just spam that. Because you're dead.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, against some classes,
I mean,
obviously,
realistically speaking, like, I mean, we can joke about that, but this is actually a very good licensed driver. Like, you are, like, most of the time you're not sad from getting a 4/3 out of your 4 mana 4/3.
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't be disgusted from this.
Like, I mean, it's not Millhouse, but that guy needs to have his license revoked.
But I'm going to say this. This card actually makes a very specific hunter card that is considered absolute garbage, Cobra Shot, valuable. Oh, look, I removed your 4/3
God,
and
no,
did a fireball to your face.
Are you saying that hunters will start using Cobra Shot to deal with this one card of this one? No.
No,
I mean,
but still.
I can see it working good against some classes.
I mean, the problem is we already know, we have already seen this card. It's called Succubus, and it sucks because, I mean, it's not like it doesn't have the discard.
The discard is way too impactful. I think Succubus
But here's
is
the
way
thing.
worse.
Are you happy to get a Succubus off a Piloted Shredder?
Yeah.
Yes, because it's 4/3 that the battle cry doesn't affect. Are you happy to get this guy? Fuck no! I'd rather have a Succubus over this damn thing all day.
Okay, So what's your decision on this? Not a good card, right?
Not really. I mean, I like that it punishes two frees because those have gotten way too prevalent. But it still dies to knife jugglers and basically it trades
I'm
downwards, and
I'm
it's
gonna yeah.
it's basically like it has the same problem that Flame Imp has in that it doesn't it's a powerful drawback that doesn't trade downwards. Like
Yeah.
it trades evenly, even if it
I
forwards.
still think this will see at least one of in like zoo decks probably
Yeah,
because
it's definitely
I mean
gonna.
I can
Oh,
imagine it like
I hope so. I really hope so because I'm
come on
gonna have a
like
field day with it.
sure like you say shield slam, but shield slam takes a while to accumulate the power, and what you said flame lands the shitty spell that
It's not.
nobody
That's mostly a joke. Yeah.
yeah
Yeah.
that nobody but imagine coining a 4/3.
Okay, here's the other thing. You bring this out as a mage. I just play a flame cannon. Boom. Not only do I remove it, you still take 4 damage to the face.
Sure,
So
but
now,
like, I mean, you can make the same argument for weapons. Like, oh well, you kill my minion, but you take damage to the face. Like, life is a resource in the end. So,
Yeah, but
I agree.
weapons
But
usually have two charges. Like,
right.
and
sure, but now this way it's a removal. Okay, you flame cannon my shit, and sure, whatever. But what if you're not a mage and you don't have flame cannon?
I explosive shot it.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
I know.
Okay,
But yeah, it is going to draw a resource, and I think that's the important takeaway of this card. It's going to draw a resource because people are going to go, oh, I get to basically, scrub all over him. Now I could use a Wrath and actually deal 3 damage to his face with a Wrath. Something that is
sure,
not
but
normally happening.
again, I feel that this card is early game enough that whatever removal it eats, it's not going to cost you that much because Flame
No.
deals 3 damage, and most of the early game removal does about that amount of damage. So you're probably
Right.
going to get between 3 and 4 damage to your face, which is equivalent to Flame Imp, and it's a bit stronger than Flame Imp, +1/+1 on top of Flame Imp. So I think like it's not going to be auto included 2 of in every single deck, but I would still see it in Zoo at least one of.
Yeah.
Maybe have
mean-
one Flame Imp and one.
I mean, there's a reason Doomguard doesn't see play, and that's not Doom, not Doomguard.
Well,
Pit
yeah.
Lord,
Yeah.
Pit Lord,
Yeah.
Pit Lord. Yeah, like, and I mean, I feel like that's kind of where it's gonna be judged. Is it too much YOLO? Like, is the YOLO to usefulness ratio off? Like,
Though, Nigel, you do bring up a good point. This is definitely a good card to play in Zoo because you play this down turn 2, you're looking for that hard removal that they're normally looking to give to, say, the Knife Juggler. The thing you want to keep.
Yeah. Again.
So,
And you're not
Yeah.
going to suffer too much from it because again, like they're going to wrath you. Well, on turn 2 they're not going to pyroblast, this goddamn thing because they don't have the mana. I mean, it's going to be fun. Again, it's going to be the standard 2 mana removal: frost bolts, rods, dark bombs. This is going to your face, so I read this as 2 mana 4/3, deal 3 damage to your hero.
yeah, but if you start getting too far away from that curve, you never play this. Like, you'll leave this in your hand just to be tossed away by a damn Doomguard.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah. So anyways, I want to open up another Druid card. It's called Darnassus Aspirant. So it's 2 mana, 2/3. It reads
Great.
Battle Cry, gain an empty mana crystal, dead threat, destroy a mana crystal. So essentially you borrow a ramp until this is alive. And again, like Living Roots, I love it, although not as much as Living Roots because
I like it a lot more than Living.
Oh, really?
I like this card a lot because it enables Wailing Soul.
Now you two old farts have to convince me. Well, Sumerin is not really
All right.
old, but convince me that this is better than Living Roots.
Yeah. All right. So first, like here, this kind like Living Roots is kind of just to complement, existing deck. This kind of gives birth to, because the value, if you can somehow, first of all, you can play this against Mirror Entity, which has been the bane of Druid forever. So you play this against Mirror Entity, and Mage goes to bed and crying because they just lost the game, basically. But second of all, this is actually value enough to the point where I think you can play a deck that would actively go around, trying to bypass the death rattle, and actually have enough value you gain from that, because it's a 2/3 with wild growth essentially. If you can negate the death rattle, there's a couple of ways to that. Like, remember when Watch Your Druid was a thing? Like, if you could incorporate those techs, like, I don't know, turn to this, and then I don't know.
Mark of the Wild to make it 4/5 and very, very hard to die.
Oh, I don't know, Wailing Soul in some age.
Wailing Soul makes more sense.
This was never really a good deck. Come on, like the Wailing Soul.
No, maybe not.
I've been playing the Wailing Soul version with Rogue, and it's working
maybe a
good.
rebirth of the Recombobulator Druid. Like, you
go.
play this, you throw it in there, you play Recombobulator and Wrath to...
And you get a Knife Juggler, yay, out of this. Amazing.
That's
and you got a free wild growth. Like, I think that's kind of the kind of deck that... I think this might give birth to a different kind of ramp, one that's much more aggro resilient, by the way, because you're playing minions on curve as opposed to doing nothing until turn 4 and then trying to catch up, because you have 6 mana versus their 2.
This is why I love Druid now, because it actually gives you stuff to do on the early turns that are impact the board, Living Roots and this one. So this one is actually 2 things that Druid wants at the same time. It wants ramp and it wants minions, and now bam, you get both of those. Sure, it can die and it can destroy your mana crystal, but then you just play it a 2 mana 2/3 vanilla minion, which is not really that horrible. Like, you haven't lost the game just by losing a mana crystal.
Personally, I think this is like 10 times better than that Teddy Ruxpin of Taunt.
The what?
The one from GBG.
Oh no, of course.
Yeah, this is 10 times better than that.
Okay, let's...
Like, this basically has Taunt too. Like,
yeah.
you will learn that this has Taunt, okay? Like, Face Hunters, this has Taunt or else. Like,
yeah, or else you're dead, man. Come on.
Or else.
Let's bring up the first roll card, and oh boy, I know that Chief likes it. I know me and Suma didn't hate it. It's Cut Purse. It's 2 mana 2/2 minion. When this minion attacks the enemy hero, put a coin into your hand. Now, we wrote an article about it just today when the card was released. It was on a Chinese stream. It was later translated. So we know that the name of the card is correct. The wording of the text might be a bit off, but the fact is there. The fact is there. The effect is there. So when we wrote the article on Ghost of Gamers, we said, I wrote it, I said it feels a bit slow, it feels something that will never get value over the long run. There are already way better 2 drops in the game for this to be included in a deck. But Chev, when we talked before the show, you kind of seem to disagree. Why is that?
Well, the reason why I actually kind of like this is if you can make this work, like against a control deck, if they don't have the option to deal with this, right? If you can get that 1 coin, that gives you the enabler for like SI7 agent and a lot of other things that, let's be honest, the combo effect in Rogue requires something low first in order to power something else. So that coin has always like traditionally been that big value for them. So now you can kind of get a coin on demand. Not to mention the fact that, let's also be honest, Rogues have no way of ramping shit out. So if you can actually get a turn or 2 of this actually doing something, some of these bigger ass minions like, Mr. 8/4 Crab or Cockroach, whatever the hell he is, gets a little bit of value. But reality, it's a crap card. I'm not going to lie, it is a crap card. But where it gets value is, oh look, it's a 2-drop! So it's, Pilot Shredder, have fun.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's class restricted pint-sized summoner. Like, that needs to attack to get its tempo going. Like, it's like, if pint-sized summoner doesn't work now, and it didn't work back in Constructed, even back when it was 2, it just was wrecking Arena. So like, it's like, this would never work. It shouldn't work. Like, it's killed by everything that killed pint-sized summoner, and then it's stopped by Taunt and Explosive Trap. Like,
but in Arena, I take this all day.
Yeah, of course. Pint-sized summoner is also, reasonable. So
yeah.
So yeah,
but,
I mean,
I think the most value we're going to see out of this card, and as I said, it is out of the Pilot Shredder when this drops, because they've wasted the resource into the Pilot Shredder.
Yeah.
Will they
of
have
course.
anything else left? So you might get 1 or 2 coins. Doubtful you'll get more than 1,
But
but
again,
hey,
that's not necessarily when you're playing Rogue. But
exactly.
yeah, I mean, it's a licensed driver.
Okay, and final card for this night, and then we're going to.
That's gonna double the podcast duration.
Oh yes, so we have Astral Communion. This was a card revealed by Crip, I think yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, and it reads 4 mana. It's a Druid epic spell. 4 mana, gain 10 mana crystals. Good, right? Yeah, discard your hand.
YOLO ramp.
Okay,
YOLO ramp.
YOLO ramp. YOLO ramp.
All
So,
right.
okay, let's.
I want to say it like this, okay? I feel like I'm looking like when I see reactions from the pros on this, I feel like this is Lock and Load 2.0 because it seems like they have no fucking clue how to make it. And I know it's pretty arrogant for me to say that, but I'm like, are you trying to make knife? Are you trying to like Loot Hoarder and Acolyte Pain actually survive a turn to be able to play this? Like, you couldn't do that with 7 blood sacrifice of gnomes when the planets align after 18 years. Like, no way! Like, that's never gonna happen. And I'm like, and even then, like, it's like, I feel like, but it's a very hard card to, describe how you're gonna win with it, but I can tell you how you're gonna lose with it. You play this in turn 4, and then you draw your Loot Hoarder. Game over. Dead. Buried. Like, you need, like, what this card needs to be played is cards that can instantly upgrade their plays. Like, you still need a curve for when you don't draw this in time, but you're gonna need cards that can kinda supplement that. And, so instead of Loot Hoarder, I actually think these decks are gonna run Novice Engineer, that ancient 2-drop that was nerfed because it was actually the best card in the game.
It was
really.
And it was. And would have been silly today with Hobgoblin too. But anyway. And I think that's kind of cards that we're going to be looking at. One of the cards that we haven't talked about that I also think they're going to be running is actually cards like the Grand Crusader, the 6 mana card that gives you a random Paladin spell, which can be Divine Favor, at which case you buy a lottery.
You buy a lottery ticket at that point because you just won the Powerball.
Yeah, and you can also play a card like Nexus Prince Sarad, which is a rock solid 5-drop, and then you can top deck it. Like, what's gonna drive? Like, I feel like you're gonna play this as if it's 4 empty mana crystals. It's 10 empty mana crystals you get because you're not gonna rely on playing this with playing anything on the turn that you play this card in your hand. But you're gonna play this as if every drop after this is like, and then I top deck this. Like, the scenario is gonna be like, and then I top deck this. So I play this, and then I top deck Deathwing. Like, Deathwing's gonna be part of this deck every time, because Deathwing is the best card in the game when you have 10 mana and no cards.
True.
Yeah, personally, the only time I see this being any use is turn 1 and turn 2. That is it. Anything past there, you really have to look at the sacrifice you're making of your hand.
I mean, the longer the game goes, the more value this loses because you gain less and less crystals effectively. So if you can innervate this, like on turn 1,
I still think that, I think turn 4 can make work if you build your curve well enough. Like, I think you can win. I mean, Divine Favor is an extreme case, but something like Hammer of Wrath is still rock solid value from the Grand Crusader. And we also
even Jeeves gets some value because of this card.
I think again, Jeeves is too slow. Like, you can't have these cards where you form.
How is it too slow? How is it too slow when you've already got 10 mana? It's not slow anymore.
I mean that you're not. It's not gonna survive. Like, it's one of the cards that could survive, maybe.
I mean, it will survive for 1 turn, because it triggers at the end of your turn. So at least you will get 3 cards.
Yeah, but you need to play this. Like, you would need to coin this out on Jeeves out on turn 4 and then play this because like Jeeves plus this is 8 mana,
Yeah.
and you need to play them in reverse order. Like so.
But like top decking a Nourish immediately after doing this, that's value.
Yeah, like Nourish is like the cards. Like I think Grove Tender is gonna be part of it too. Like you're not gonna matter you're not gonna matter he gets a card if you are 15 mana ahead in the game. Of course, Ancient of Law, obviously, and then a bunch of the really late stuff like Ragnar's, Boom, probably Sneeds too.
Maybe even that new legendary.
Like I even think like Grand Magister something that buffs hero powers. Because of the way hero powers buffs works usually, you would actually be able to cast hero power, then cast Grandmaster something, and then cast your hero power again. So you have you have 6, and then you can hit for free. That's not the worst turn 5th you've ever played, and now your hero power is stronger for the rest of the game while you're playing other minions. Like
I still feel like this card is way too unpredictable to work consistently because again this I'm on the top deck is a field that you'd never really want to have.
Not as a druid. Not as a druid.
Like sure, like if you draw Ancient of Lore, that's great, right?
Exactly.
But what if you draw your Wild Growth?
Then you draw another card because
you draw another card. What if you draw your Innervate then?
You're not gonna run. You're not like this. This is another thing. Like these decks are gonna run one Innervate at most. I think. Like.
I mean, Innervate still has value for like a combo, or like if you're trying to get something that's do multiple. Like you're at 10, that Innervate technically brings you to 12. In theory.
But you're not gonna have cards for that. Like I think one Innervate at most, so that you have a chance of getting this very early. But I don't think you're not gonna have you're gonna be running off the top deck. But if all of those cards in your deck are really good, even when you have 10 mana, then I think I'm definitely gonna try it out. Like I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna try it out a lot.
Of course.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the slew of videos that are gonna pop up because of this damn thing, and they're gonna happen.
Of course. Like
haha! Look, I got this out on turn 1, and I got Rag. I win.
It's really an interesting and unique card, and it's way more interesting than let's say Tree of Life because somehow the two cards are similar in my mind because they do this ultimate thing. One fills every character. Back to full health. The other one gives you ultimate mana, but discards your hand. It's very ultimate-y in their effect. So obviously the people will experiment with it because Tree of Life was in mill decks. People found used to it, and I'm sure Astral Communion will find use as well because it's when it works, it's really amazing. Sometimes it will flop, but then again, it's maybe a risk you're willing to take, or you have designed the deck that's structured in such a way that it mitigates the risk. Like whatever I draw, 80% of the time it's good and it kills you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll add it to like my Ramp Druid just as a possible. Hey, if this happens, this is gonna make for some great video. But other than that, I mean, it's nifty, it's cool, but that downside is really punishing.
Of course. Anyway, so this was our the Grand Tournament review, or at least of the cards that we think were exciting, and of course the news recap of the last 2 weeks. From now on, we'll have we're back on the regular schedule. We'll be streaming every Monday at 9 p.m. CST. This is 3 p.m. Eastern time, if I'm not mistaken. So
You're correct.
Yeah, I am correct. Tune to us at twitch.tv/GaussTV4 each Monday. This show will of course be available on iTunes and YouTube and on the site as well. So plenty of ways to find it. And if you have any feedback to us, if you want to express our thoughts, about the Grand Tournament or anything else we've discussed, you can see our Twitter scattered around here. But let's get to the closing words. Stefan, anything from you before we wrap this up?
No, I haven't really been working on much. Like, you can't release articles at this time. Like, they'll get buried in a new stream. So,
True, true. Chiv?
Uh, Everyone, check out Luminosity Gaming. You know, home of Stan Sifka, Phone Tap, Impact, Ignite. Great bunch of guys doing what they do. And by the way, we picked up a Heroes of the Storm team.
Oh, you did?
So yeah, we did. Goon Squad.
Oh, they're good. They're
Yeah,
good. I mean, they're up
Yeah.
and coming, but they're good.
yeah. I can't wait to see what else they're going to be doing. Other than that, check out my YouTube channel. Just like search my name with the word Hearthstone. You'll find it all over the place. And of course, you know, my Twitter is somewhere in this little box thingy. Other than that, RNG says bless you guys.
Okay, guys, then thank you again for joining us for the show. We'll be back August 17th, once again, 9 p.m. CET. Until then, enjoy Hearthstone, enjoy the Grand Tournament reveals, and whatever you do, go play some weird deck on ladder, because who gives a damn? Actually, no, you shouldn't play this, because now you get rewards for finishing high on the ladder. So go play the face hunter that you're dreading. Go play Zoo. Go play all these the decks that the cool kids are playing. But yeah, do this
And expect a rope from me every turn.
Yeah. Do this and have fun, and